This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
We bring you the latest on China's efforts to combat coronavirus. Police shoot man dead after London stabbing incident described as terrorism. And African countries ponder impact of new US travel restrictions. Hello and welcome to CGTN. This is Africa Live and I'm Karen Roberts in Nairobi, also coming up in the programme. We look into the crisis of teenage pregnancies in Africa. And in sports, Djokovic wins a record-extending 8th title to guarantee return to #1. We start the programme in Tanzania, where a pastor and several other people have been arrested in connection with a stampede at a church service that left 20 people dead. Around 10,000 people are said to have been in the congregation on Saturday evening. They were in a packed stadium in the town of Moshi in northern Tanzania. Pastor Boniface Mwampoza is accused of causing the stampede by asking his congregation to rush forward to be anointed with so-called blessed oil. He was seized on Sunday in Tanzania's commercial capital, Dar es Salaam, as he attempted to leave the country. Pastor Mwampoza delivers sermons across the country, attracting huge crowds who believe that his blessed oil can cure disease and bring prosperity. Authorities fear the death toll could rise. Police say that they'll now review dozens of religious gatherings across the country that draw thousands of what's called miracle seekers. Now to the latest on the coronavirus outbreak. The first death outside China has been reported in the Philippines. The patient was a Chinese national who arrived from the city of Wuhan last month. In China, 304 people have died, but more than 400 people have recovered. The total number of confirmed cases in China has surpassed 14,000. And there are nearly 20,000 suspected cases in the country. There are 148 confirmed cases in other countries. Japan has 20, Thailand has 19, and Singapore 18. Germany has just confirmed 2 new cases and now has a total of 10. Well, Wuhan, the epicenter of the outbreak, has completed and handed over the first of 2 temporary hospitals to the Chinese military medical team. The Huashanshan Hospital was built in just 9 days with a capacity of 1,000 beds. Patients will begin arriving on Monday. Our reporter Tang Bo told us how the newly added beds and medical supplies will help.
Behind me is the newly constructed Huashanshan Hospital, which was taken over by the People's Liberation Army on Sunday morning. And as you can see behind me, lots of construction workers are now cleaning up the entire construction site, and some trucks are also leaving the area. And a total of 1,400 medical workers from the military are expected to start on Monday receiving the relating infected patients with adequate medical supplies. And Huashanshan Hospital is expected to host 1,000 infected patients, while the other health facility under construction, Leishanshan Hospital, will be offering 1,500 beds when it's complete. And also in the city, other 23 designated hospitals have also been converting some common wards into temporary isolation one to try to host more patients. And the completion of the new facilities is going to largely release the burden of those overcrowded hospitals. Now we have a new health facility and a lot of more medical personnel, leaving only the issue of medical supplies. There are a few things we need to pay attention to about medical supplies. Firstly, we do not want to send or donate protective gear for civil use because medics need medical ones. They have been quite grateful for all donations from across the country, but let's deliver to them what they really need. And secondly, if you are not in worst heat areas, please try not to buy medical ones for yourself. Leave them to medical workers. And also, ordinary face masks can protect you very well. So knowing that can help with the shortage of medical supplies in the city and also across the country.
In the UK, a student from the University of York has been confirmed as one of the first 2 people in the country to test positive for the coronavirus. Meanwhile, 83 British citizens flown back from Wuhan, the centre of the outbreak, are in isolation for 2 weeks as the government tries to control the spread. Our correspondent Holly Hudson reports now from the city of York.
York, a historic English town and top tourist destination, now the centre of a coronavirus outbreak in the UK.
Public Health England has informed us that one of our students has tested positive for coronavirus. We understand this development will cause concern and anxiety, but I want to reassure our students, staff and the wider community that we're working closely with the lead agency, Public Health England, and other agencies to manage this situation.
Over 200 people have been tested for coronavirus in Britain. The student from the University of York, along with a family member, are the first 2 people to test positive. They were staying at a hotel in the city when they fell ill. Health officials are now trying to track and trace anybody who might have come into close contact with the pair, whether that was at the hotel they were staying behind me here or elsewhere around York. Close contact is deemed as being within 2 metres for up to 15 minutes. And that has led to concern here about the spread.
It's been a bit worrying, but what can you do? You can't screen everybody when they walk through the door, so it's just being cautious really, and you know, after they've gone, spraying the antibac and stuff, which I've done this week.
It was bound to happen. There's a big Chinese community in York. Sooner or later it's going to happen.
People have died as a result of contracting the virus, and it's obviously spreading quite quickly. There's been quite a few cases of it. I sort of, when I heard about it initially, expected that maybe it was going to end up being sort of a false alarm. So I was surprised when it was confirmed that there were 2 cases, and just hoping that's not going to affect me as somebody that works in York.
The 2 patients are now being treated at a specialist infectious diseases unit in the city of Newcastle. While just over 160 kilometres away, 83 other British citizens flown back from Wuhan spent their first night in quarantine in a hospital near Liverpool, where they'll stay in volunteer isolation for the next 2 weeks. The Foreign Office also announced on Saturday it was withdrawing staff from embassies in China, and travel restrictions remain in place. The government confirmed the threat level had been raised to moderate. Officials insist that is a result of the global situation, not the new cases in the UK. Holly Hudson, CGTN, York.
Meanwhile, Egypt has decided to help with the coronavirus interventions by sending 10 tons of medical supplies to China in a sign of solidarity. Here's CGTN's Adel El Makrouki with more.
Moving on the basis of their comprehensive strategic partnership, Egypt is supporting China with medical supplies and equipment to help it with the coronavirus outbreak. The 10 tons of medical supplies have left Cairo airport on Sunday and are on their way to Wuhan. Egypt already has sufficient reserve of the required preventive medical items and equipment to face the virus. Now the entire government has moved to assist China. Health Minister Hala Zaid has given directives to the ministry to support the Chinese people by all means possible. On Sunday morning, the Minister of Civil Aviation has personally inspected the plane which carried the supplies. It's the same aircraft that will bring back Egyptians in Wuhan. The Egyptian Prime Minister's office said that 3 medical crews are on board the Egypt airplane. They will conduct the initial checkups on the 306 Egyptians who have shown desire to come back home. There are 350 Egyptians in Wuhan. A special quarantine facility has been established to accommodate all Egyptians coming back from Wuhan and everyone who came in contact with them, including drivers, flight and medical crews. They will be quarantined for 14 days, and Egypt has dedicated 140 healthcare experts to look after them during these 2 weeks. Adel El Makrouki, CGTN, Cairo.
Now to other news. Tanzania is one of 6 countries that will be affected by the expanded version of the US travel ban. The US administration says Tanzania's inclusion comes as a result of its failure to meet US security standards, and including information sharing. An official statement is yet to be issued by the government with regard to the new travel restrictions. CGTN's Isaac Lucando has more.
In 2018, the US issued 290 immigration visas to Tanzanians. Under the new restrictions, Tanzanian nationals will no longer be allowed to apply for diversity visas, which lead to permanent residency in the United States. The announcement has some Tanzanians concerned.
We have relatives and friends who live there. We have various activities that we share with the US. So when this happens, thinking about it deeply, effects must be there.
Deeply thinking, lazima kutakuwa na athari zao.
Let's leave this to the President. I know with his ability and the good relations he has with the United States, along with the ability of our Foreign Minister, Palamagamba Kabudi, they will find a solution to this.
The new rules, however, will not affect people going to the US for temporary stays, including visitors, those doing business, or people seeking medical treatment. Isaac Lucando, CGTN, Dar es Salaam.
Nigeria says it will comply with new visa rules set by the United States. This is after the country also was added to the list of 5 others that are facing travel bans announced by the Trump administration. Nigeria's government has created a committee to address the issues that have led to the suspension of immigrant visas to its citizens. US officials say the countries, including Eritrea, Sudan, Tanzania, Kyrgyzstan and Myanmar, have failed to meet their security and information sharing standards. One mother fears her adopted Nigerian daughter will never gain American citizenship as a result.
I guess the emotion I'm feeling is anger. Like, I don't know if I tend to move towards anger. I want my daughter to have the same rights that I do, you know, and it's something that is just really real for us and really, really scary, to be perfectly honest. And I also think that, like, when you read the article, it's one of the most dangerous countries, it's this, it's that, I mean, you know, I go on a walk anytime I want to here. I'm not worried about it, you know, and I don't understand why they can just overnight make those sort of decisions that impact people's lives really severely.
We are going to a short break. Don't go away. Lots more to come, including we look into the crisis of teenage pregnancies in Africa. And Ugandan boxing promoters equip teenage mothers with self-defense skills in Kampala.
Images may appear to be identical, but looks can be deceiving. The difference is not always obvious. It has to be discovered. There are always different sides to a story. We put the focus on the details. To see more, to understand better. CGTN. See the difference.
Africa Live. Find your voice.
Now to London. Police say they shot dead a man after several people were stabbed on Sunday afternoon. The incident happened in South London's Streatham neighbourhood. Police say they are treating it as terror-related. Well, for the latest on this, we are now joined on the line by our correspondent, Michael Voss, who is in London for us. Michael, officials say that they're still assessing the circumstances surrounding this incident. Briefly, take us through what exactly happened.
Well, as far as we can tell, this happened at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon local time in Streatham High Street. It's a residential suburb about 6 miles south of central London. Apparently, 2 people were injured in a knife attack. Police have confirmed that 2 people are being treated for knife attacks. There was a rapid response. A large number of armed police units came, ambulances and a helicopter, closed off the area. A man was chased and was shot. He's now been pronounced dead. As you say, they're saying this is a terrorist-related incident, although we have no further details on either who the man is who has been shot or the condition of the two stabbing victims. On social media, there's unconfirmed reports by eyewitnesses that a man was seen running away from the stabbings, chased by police, carrying a machete and wearing what looked like canisters around his chest, possibly an explosive vest. But as I say, this is totally unconfirmed at this point. We're now waiting for further updates from the Metropolitan Police. I think one of the unusual things about this is that most of the recent terrorist attacks in Britain have been in very busy, high-profile locations, that in front of the Houses of Parliament, at a pop concert in Manchester, and just 2 months ago on Lambeth Bridge, where 2 people died in a stabbing incident. I think the other one is that in Britain, with very, very strict gun laws, fatalities are often relatively low. Had there been guns, there could have been many more. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has thanked the emergency services, says his thoughts are with those caught up in the incident and the injured. We're waiting now for more details from the Metropolitan Police.
Okay, thank you very much for that update. That was our correspondent Michael Voss there in London following the stabbing incident in South London in Streatham. In Uganda, social workers are pushing for a policy that will help keep teenage mothers in school. They're concerned that the rate of school dropouts due to teenage pregnancy is on the rise because of the lack of a re-entry policy for teenage mothers. CGTN's Hilary Ayesiga reports.
Sewing her life back together, 16 years old Namaganda dropped out of school because of pregnancy.
I didn't make a good decision and I didn't think about it. I just did it, and what happened? I got pregnant and now I'm out of school.
And she's not alone. Many pregnant girls come to this teenage center for support.
A day we can receive 2 girls every day who are pregnant. That means in a week it will be about 10 girls who have come, because we don't open up during weekends. So if it is 10 girls a day who are pregnant, the magnitude must be really, really high.
According to Uganda's Bureau of Statistics, 1 in every 4 teenage girls between the ages of 15 and 19 get pregnant annually. And Uganda does not have a comprehensive policy on the readmission of teenage mothers in schools. But this local NGO is helping them acquire vocational skills.
We take them through the training in vocational skills, and the skills which will be for life.
Every day about 30 girls gather here to learn new skills in tailoring. Trainers here believe the skill will help them start a new life after they've dropped out of school. The social workers also want government to design a new policy on sex education for schools.
Educate the girls what is out there if you're sexually active in schools and everything, because all of them, most of the girls we have as P7 dropouts, senior 4 dropouts, so they should know their time when they start menstruating, the dangers, the preventions and everything.
The government introduced abstinence-based sex education, but it is yet to be effective. Social workers now believe if such policies are introduced, they could help keep girls in school. And for teenage mothers like Namaganda, it's another opportunity to pursue their career. Hilary Ayesiga, CGTN, Kampala, Uganda.
Well, let's stay with Hilary in Uganda, as boxing promoters are equipping teenage mothers with self-defense skills in the slums of the capital, Kampala. They're concerned that many young mothers are being attacked and are unable to defend themselves.
Punching her way out of trouble, Joy Namabiro is mastering self-defense skills, and she's already started putting these skills to use.
2 men attacked me and they wanted to take my money, but I was able to defend myself.
Helen Baleke is the brains behind this women's empowerment program.
Most affected are teenage mothers who stay in the slum. Drug abusers rape them and abandon them with their children.
Because of the lack of parental care and acceptance by their families, young mothers often suffer stigma. Most of them drop out of school, engage in forced marriages, suffering abuse and neglect, and spend the rest of their lives in poverty. But through boxing, their lives are now being transformed. Every day, about 30 women gather here to learn how to defend themselves, but also polish their boxing skills. Apart from acquiring self-defense skills, women are also getting financial benefits from the sport.
After training, we go for boxing competitions where we get some money.
Besides boxing, they also do tailoring courses. They believe tailoring can help them get additional income.
If we are not training here, we go for tailoring. We want to make sure that these women make some money to meet their basic needs.
Boxing promoters believe these skills will help women like Joy Namabiro to defend and feed their families in the communities where they live. Hilara Isga, CGTN, Kampala.
Well, let's now bring you an update on the efforts to combat coronavirus. Chinese Premier Li Keqiang has chaired a high-level meeting on the prevention and control of the novel coronavirus. It was noted at the meeting that the State Council has agreed to allow workers in some non-essential sectors to work flexible hours. During the meeting, they also asked for a reduction in the mass movement of people after the Spring Festival holiday so as to lower the risk of the epidemic spreading. Also at the meeting, they said there needs to be a stable supply of disease prevention supplies and daily necessities. They also stressed the importance of providing Hubei province and especially its capital, Wuhan, with all the supplies that it needed. They said that more hospitals and medical staff were needed there, adding that a shortage of face masks and protective suits must be addressed immediately. Well, we are going to a short break now. We've got all the sports news coming up, including Djokovic wins a record-extending 8th title to guarantee return to number 1.
How would you create your legend? On the fields, on the tracks, in the arenas of Africa. Were you born to be a player? Could this moment be yours? Sports Scene. Find your game.
We start with football. Following a move from KRC Genk in Belgium, Aston Villa's latest signing, Mbwana Matata, is the first Tanzanian to play